Hi, this is Mindy Fiskus, Digital Access Coordinator for the Learning Technology Center of Illinois. I'm here today with another E-rate demo. Before we get started, I'd like to point out we have a new community on our LTC website that you might like to join. From ltcillinois.org, please choose Stay Connected from the upper menu bar. Once you click on Community, it will take you to a page that allows you to sign up for one of our LTC communities. Click here to join the community. From there, you'll be able to join several segments, including our E-rate segment, so you can be aware of all updates and information going out to the state. Now that we've covered that, let's get started. Today's demo will be a start of the FCC Form 471. This year for FY 1920, the form is due March 27th, so that's Wednesday, March 27th, that due date. Please note that a 471 is required for every year of the funding program, even if you're in the middle of a contract. To get started, I am here on the landing page within the EPC system. If you need to use last year's 471 as a guide, you can scroll to the bottom of the portal page, choose 471, and then FY18 for last year's form. That will give you a link to a form so that you can use last year's form as a guide if you need to. Going back up the landing page, I'm going to choose FCC Form 471 from the upper right-hand menu. This will begin our 471 form for the FY 1920 school year. The first thing you need to do is name your form. I will say HUT 471 FY 1920. The reason that I choose the whole school year range is because for the E-rate program, this would be funding year 19, but for our state fiscal program, it would be fiscal year 20. This just keeps things very clear in case you win the lottery and leave your district and someone else needs to take over your forms. This first example we will do is for Category 1. You do have to do a separate form for Category 1 and Category 2, Services. Once you have yours named, click Save and Continue in the bottom right-hand corner. The next page asks, are you the main contact person? I'm here with Julie Kramer, who says she is the contact person for her district, so we would click yes. If you are not the main contact person, you can say no and enter information for the main contact person at your district. If you are not a 12-month employee, USAC allows you to enter holiday or summer contact information, so you can put down here an alternate email address or name and number of a person at your district in case you are out of the district over the summer when they have questions about your form. I'm going to say Save and Continue down here again in the lower right-hand corner. This next page asks you if you will be choosing Category 1 or Category 2 services. Again, this is our example for Category 1. Please look for the video of Category 2 if you're looking for a demo of that form. From this point, the choices in the form will change with the selections that we make. So by choosing Category 1, we will have different selections than we would have by choosing Category 2. Again, Save and Continue is in the bottom right-hand corner. At this point, I will let you know that at any time you can click out of the form and there is an autosave feature, so it will say where you are in the form and you can find your incomplete form under Tasks menu in the upper blue menu bar. The first page just confirms that this is the school district and lists some of your information. Please don't worry if you see some of these boxes are incomplete on your version, that some of this information is optional. Clicking Save and Continue will move forward. The next page lists the student counts and information for each building in your district. The numbers that are in the system for your school buildings are listed here. These are the number of full and part-time students in your district. This is how the system calculates your discount and your available budget for Category 2. If you see these numbers are dramatically different, you will need to notify USAC to change the information for your account. We can do that after the form, but for the form purposes, this is locked down for this time frame. Please remember in the future that these numbers are best updated while filing your 470 form before the 471 window opens. There is a way to change the numbers after the fact, and I will provide a video on our stream of that process as well. Clicking Save and Continue will finally take us to the last information page for your district that will list your discount rate. Again, the numbers should be accurate, but if they are not accurate and you feel like there needs to be a change, we can ask for that change at a later time. This district has an 80% discount rate in both Category 1 and Category 2. For those of you who are filing for Category 2 services and you are a 90% Category 1 discount rate, 90 or 85% will be reflected in the Category 2 discount rate. That's not a mistake. 85% is the highest you can get for Category 2. And this page brings us to filling out requests for Category 1 services. So the thing that we need to do here is add our first FRN or funding request number. By clicking the blue button, Add FRN, we will be able to nickname our first request. I'm going to call this Internet Access. This is Internet Access Service from our state network. It then asks, is this a funding continuation from a previous year? And this one I'm going to go ahead and say no, this is not a continued service. It's a brand new service for this year. If you say yes, it will ask you for the FRN from the previous year, and we'll do another example with one of those copying over. So again, Internet access for the district, it is not a continuation from a previous year, and the service type is data transmission or Internet access. In this category, we used to see phones, but they are no longer eligible for the program. So data transmission and Internet access is our only option. Down in the right-hand corner, we're going to click Continue. That will take us to the next page, and it wants to know, is this a contract, tariff, or month-to-month service? If you have a contract for your service, it would obviously be contract. Just because you make your bill, pay your bill month to month does not mean it's a month-to-month service. Contracts that are expired and you continue to have service without any contract on file would be a month-to-month service. So for example, your contract expired last year in June, but you've just continued the service without a contract, then you would be eligible to choose month-to-month and use a bill from one of those months as your proof of cost and speed. However, if you are inside of a contract, you would need to choose contract from this page. Most of our contracts start and end on start on July 1st and end on June 30th of the calendar year to align with both our school calendar year and the calendar year for USAC. If your dates are different than that, you'll please need to reflect that within the form. I'm going to choose contract. If you have a bid for services starting next year, it's not a signed contract yet, that's still acceptable. There is another video here on the system that will show you how to upload and set the information inside the contract in order to attach it to the form. I'm going to say continue, and again, this system is going to look for all contracts that have been uploaded to the system. Please do check out the other video along here on how to add contracts to the EPC system in order to see how to do that. The district number is already listed here on the page, so I'm going to do a search for this district. If you have a lot of contracts in the system and you have some of these other things that you want to search by, you're welcome to fill out that information as well. In this case, I'm going to do a quick search by contract ID, sorting both from the oldest to the newest, and then hopefully we'll be able to find the contract that we are looking for. So we are going to go with the ICN Internet Access contract here that was signed the 16th of January in 2019. It will list the information of the contract here below. That again was entered in the system. Please view the other video. And then down beneath it says, what is the service start date for this funding year? This is very important. If you put a date different than 2019, like one of your, like a continued contract that you signed in 2017 or something, it does say this funding year. So 7/1/2019 is correct. It wants to know what is the date expiring for this current contract. And I am going to say that is 6/30/2022. And you will see that the calendar populates to the correct date and you can choose the number there. Again, this is a multi-year contract. The service start date for this year, also ending date of the contract itself. Clicking continue will allow you to move on to the next page. This request asks, is this special construction, maintenance and operations, or network equipment? If you are doing a new fiber build contract, this is where you will enter that information. I'm providing another video for our state match recipients of knowing how to record their special construction and what that looks like. So we're going to say no here on this service. It is just internet access, and we're going to click continue. Here you can provide a brief narrative of what this internet is. So I'm going to say internet access for entire district, 300 megabits bandwidth shared. Any kind of description will be nice here. I do believe that a narrative is required to move forward. Please check if there is something in the narrative asking for special information or a change to be made to your entity profiles here, that is something that is still required. Sometimes people just copy what they had last year, and in those cases, we've asked for a change to be made to the entity. Of course, here we are a year later, that entity information may now be stable. Clicking Save and Continue in the bottom right-hand corner will take us to the next page. And now we have our chart here with our FRN in it. It looks like that is a pretty complete file, but what we haven't entered is our monthly details of how much our bill is. In order to add the details and information for our FRN, we need to enter a line item. So by clicking on the number of the funding request, it will allow us to get to a secondary chart that will enter our line item information. Click Add New FRN Line Item, and it will ask you what kind of internet service this is. The top option is internet service that is bundled from a service provider, so it's transport and internet service together. The second one is a connection between two or more sites within the network, so that is a WAN connection between buildings. The third is a data connection for internet access to a regional network where the service is billed separately. So again, transport only. The last is internet access, no circuit, meaning no transport, just the internet access itself for a regional network. In this case, the last choice is what we will choose for Hudsonville School District, but please know if your internet access and transport comes bundled, that is the first option. Again, if you have any questions about these, please feel free to reach out to me at mfiscus@ltcillinois.org. Underneath these purpose options, you'll find a function that says, what kind of service is it? For most of our schools, that option will be fiber internet access. There are some people who still have wireless internet access from building to building or to their internet provider. That's a choice here. If you are looking for cable connection or Metro E connection, that is classified as copper within the system. Again, if you don't know what to choose here in this section, you can reach out to me, or you can always choose miscellaneous and enter the section that you want, and they can fix it for you in PIA review. So in this case, this is fiber internet access, and the type of connection would be perfect if we had lit fiber as an option. However, we do not, so we're going to scroll down here. Our best choice here is Ethernet, and choosing Ethernet will allow us to give the speed on the next page. Those other options that were listed there will give a speed that is handled by that particular line. You may have more or less than that speed, so it's not the most accurate choice. Choosing Ethernet will let us dictate the speed here. This connection is 300. The number goes here. Underneath it is the units, so 300 megabits. Please make sure you're choosing megabits or gigabits. Again, a gigabit is 1,000 megabits. So if you have a 1 gig connection, it will just be 1 here with gig or 10 here with gig. For this case, it is 300 megabits for all of her buildings. And over here on the right, it asks if there's burstable bandwidth. Burstable bandwidth is available on some contracts, but it will explicitly say in your contract if that's available for yours. In this case, it is not mentioned in the contract, so we're going to say no and move ahead. These next questions ask about your type of connection. So it says, is this a direct connection to a single school, library, or NIF for internet access? In this case, it is not a single school. It is for both buildings in the district. It says, is this connection between eligible schools, libraries, and NIFs? Again, in this case, it is not because the buildings are connected with locally owned fiber. However, it is for every district in the network. Some people will have a bundled service that provides internet access to the district and the connection between buildings. In that case, you would say no to the first and yes to the second. Does this include firewall services? No, not at this time. I do know some service providers do include firewall services, and if you have that, it will note it in your contract. This is a section that I've seen several questions asked in PIA review. So if you have any confusion about what you're selecting here, you can reach out to me and I will help you answer those questions if necessary. Click on Continue to take us now to the next page. And here we enter the monthly reoccurring cost. So we're just going to enter the monthly cost here over here on the left-hand side. All of this cost is eligible, so a 0 goes in the next line. If you know you have ineligible services as part of your contract, say the monthly cost is entered here, but you have phones included in your service, you would take the phone amount and put it here to be subtracted for the total. And the monthly quantity is one contract here. The one-time unit cost would be 0 in this instance because all of these costs are monthly and not one time. So you do have to fill out the zeros so that the program can calculate your total cost for the year. Save and continue will take us back to determine, save and continue will have us determine what this is for each entity. If this is for every entity in the organization, which it is here for Hudsonville, you would say yes. If you have separate connections for each building, you could indicate no here and then choose which entity it goes to. So this all looks good for Hudsonville. Save and continue moving forward. Just confirming it is for both of those buildings. So this confirmation page here. And that takes us back to our line item detail chart. Again, some contracts show a different pricing amount for each building. You can enter those each as each line item. There can be multiple line items here within your FRN, but this completes our internet access for this district. So I am going to say continue, and continue will take us back to our main chart. At this point, we're going to take a little break. We've got one FRN line item with one FRN with one line item under it. This was the only thing we were asking for. We can move forward. But I'm going to take a break here to create the next video, which will outline how to copy an FRN from a previous year into the system. So please check the other video if you're following along with the process. And we will talk to you soon.